We have the greatest existential threat this republic has ever faced. Someone has been comforting themselves with alcohol. I'm guessing. This dude has put on some pounds just since the last time we saw him. Oh, there'll be an ad here too. Do you believe what? Click here so we can sell you some horse paste. All right, here we go.
We're in a situation where we have the greatest existential threat that this republic has ever faced.
All right, what is it? Well, here it comes. This is the greatest, guys. It's the greatest existential threat. It's existential. It's internal. It's spiritual. It's psychological. It's philosophical. Fill us in.
We have an ancient and honorable civilization. I would say the most ancient on earth, more so than even the Egyptians and the Persians, right? Passed down from 10,000 years.
Yes. The American Constitution, brought down from Mount Sinai by Moses after he was getting his ivermectin treatment, where he walked down with the 2 pages of the Constitution in each arm, signed by John Hancock and a bunch of other people. And yeah.
Sometimes the height of science and education, all that. This ancient civilization that...
are you talking about like the Middle Eastern algebra? Or are you talking about like Northern European astronomy? You're talking about Copernicus? Which part?
And they talk about democracy. Now, Brandon tells it, and they go, well, they're a autocracy, and we're looking...
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. The millennia of democracy that we've had. Right. You know that thing that started about 200 years ago? Been around forever.
Democracies. You have 1.4 billion people. You have the Lao Beijing that are enslaved by a train.
I see. Is he talking about... Oh, he's talking about the Chinese as a culture? I see. Right,
national criminal organization that happens to be in business, and it's a profitable business for all these groups, whether it's the Davos group or the Wall Street guys or the City of London or all the woke corporations.
No, it isn't. We're in the middle of the biggest reshoring movement in our nation's history. Everybody's getting the fuck out of there except Blackstone and Goldman Sachs.
And you can tell they're all kowtowing to them in the most infected. These are guys that won't walk across the street in Washington, D.C. without a mask, but we're sending everybody in billions of dollars over so that we can do the ancient from Athens and time immemorial, the great thing of peace, the Olympic Games, or the whole, the Greeks would put the Spartans and the Athenians.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before there was democracy, there were the Olympics.
And the guys in Thebes, they all put down their weapons. For 2 weeks, they come together and they wrestle naked, right? Or whatever they did back in those days.
Well, I mean, we all think of the Olympics in a different way, Steve. You know what I mean? When the first thing that comes to mind, ski jumping most of the time, or luge, stuff that I can't believe are sports, and yet they're there. Also, skiing and shooting, that one always stuck out to me. And the addition of skateboarding has been in the front of my mind. So when I think of the Olympics, is a fairly funny mental picture of a guy ski jumping while he gets shot out of the air and lands on a skateboarder. That's fucking hilarious. I don't necessarily go straight to guys naked wrestling, but hey, I'm not here to yuck your yum, Steve.
In peaceful games. So we do that and we kowtow to that. The greatest...
Well, I don't know. You start oiling up guys and they start wrestling. I wouldn't call that peaceful. After a while, somebody's getting a piece.
Existential threat we've ever had, and not just that, it's a maniacal genocidal regime against its own.
He does remember like the games with the Germans and the fist in the air and the Nazi regime with the Olympics and no.
People against its own people, and yet we're doing all this. And at this time,
and by the way. No, because Xi Jinping, the CCP, and their group of like Han superiorists in China don't think the Uyghurs are their people. They don't think the people that are, that are effectively Turks that live in that part of the country are their people. Yes, they're their people because they're inside the country, but they don't view them as their people any more than the Nazis viewed the Jews as their people. Are you fucking stupid?
With all these, and these are not small crises. Each one is like to a level 10, right? Everyone's a code red. Okay?
No, they aren't. That's the issue. That's why there's still games going on. They're like, internationally, they're like a fucking 6. Because what China's doing to the Uyghurs, I think should take the games away from them. But at the very same time, we also have a similar situation going on in 2 countries in Africa right now. There's all kinds of border conflicts. I don't know if you've noticed the whole Russian-Ukraine thing. All right.
Everyone at Code Red, oh, by the way, and the invasion of the 3 million people, illegal aliens into our southern border being welcomed in and then flown into.
Which isn't happening.
Flown into, Scranton in the middle of the night, Wilkes-Barre Airport in the middle of the night, of course, naturally, right? Because that's not a problem. And, you can't move anywhere in Washington, New York, or if you're unvaccinated, but we just got to pour in invasion of the southern border with the cartels, some of the most deadly.
Oh, God. Not only are they MS-13 and they've got knives on them, but they might cough on you as well.
Inhumane people on the face of the earth. But hey, that's not a problem. In all of this.
Yeah. Have you seen some of the toddlers these women are carrying? They just got like icy gaze. They can like see into your soul. You goddamn right. Say my name.
In all of this, we have to make the defense of the eastern border of Ukraine. And remember, let's go back to those conflicts in the 20th century. Let's pick a random one. World War II, right? In fact, I picked World War I. Dr. Zhivago's on the Turner Classic Movies the other night. Remember, in Zhivago, when the army.
Jesus Christ. What does Steve Bannon do between indictments? Hey, he watches Turner Classic Movies, just like my mom does.
Collapses and the peasants start to take over the army. Later, right. Zhivago says, "Yeah, I served for years in the Ukraine, Okay, and
right, which at that time was the Ukraine. Now it's Ukraine. You're doing the same shit Don Jr. is, and you're telling on yourself, dumb fuck. You're using the Russian language about Ukraine right now by calling it the Ukraine.
War II, it's a killing field. I think they killed 8 million on the way over and 7 million on the way back. It's a killing field from time immemorial. They have vendettas there that have come down through the centuries, right? Let's just say this is not our neighborhood. We fought to.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're right. Let's just pull out of Israel. You think they're going to fall for that one? No, I don't think so either.
Conflicts, we were the deciding factor.
We need to pull out of Ukraine so we can put military in Israel to protect against the Palestinians, right?
World War,
I watched
and all the
too,
Russians and the Chinese bled out in the second. It was our industrial strength, our hero and courage of our young men and women, boom, that we were kind of the deciding factor in the second. And in both of those
Wait, kinda? Fuck you, kinda.
Times the Ukraine is like over there. So
it's not the Ukraine anymore, dumb fuck. It's Ukraine. It's a country of their own. They have sovereignty. They're a democracy. They have separated from that old shit. And by the way, why the fuck are we using old world orders as if they're sacrosanct or have some sort of intrinsic value? All right, let's just start there. Hey, that used to be part of Russia. Who gives a shit? Let them take it again. What are you talking about? Are you gonna move out so that the Cherokee and the Apache and the Comanche can have the country back, and then the Comanche and the Cherokee and the Apache can give the land back to the Pawnee, and then the Pawnee can give the land back to, I don't know, Vikings and Chinese people who met in Canada and fucked and made the Native American populace? And then they'll all move back, and then we'll all stay, and then we'll all rescind back into Africa, and we'll stay in North Africa, and they'll say, like, what the fuck? So stupid.
Fight between the Red Army and the Nazis. And yet now today, with everything going on, with all these conflicts, this is
first of all what conflicts? There's this, and there's China flying over the upper corner of Taiwanese airspace just so that Xi Jinping can seem macho for them re-upping him as the emperor of China this year.
Legitimate regime, and this highlights their illegitimacy. This highlights their illegitimacy that they have picked, and they sit there with their media partners, and they expect rational people to get all worked up. We had Richard Engel. We can play that later. We had Richard Engel, the NBC chief correspondent, international correspondent for NBC News. He's not some grundoon at MSNBC. He comes on there, but he's the chief foreign correspondent for NBC News. He's in Kiev on Friday saying the bars are open, the people are having restaurants. They think this is all, it's a much bigger deal in the Western media.
No, because we've dealt with this many times. They don't know because they're like, well, until it fucking happens, we've been through this. It's the same shit that, dude, think about the Cold War. How long were we under the constant threat of nuclear attack by the Soviet Union again and again and again and again and on the brink? I mean, how many stories? How many stories during your lifetime did you grow up in the United States with it could happen in a fucking second? War games, anybody screws around, somebody trips and knocks a switch, it's going to trigger a false launch, which would trigger the automatic response software that they had put in place. It was like, you know, using a punch card at the time. How many times? Do we stop living during that thing? Right, 50 fucking years of that shit. Bars were open the whole goddamn time. We hid under our desks occasionally. Some people built a bunker in their backyard. But you still went to the school dance. You still went to concerts all this time. Who in the world? Right, duck and cover, exactly. And they've been through this. The Ukrainians have been through this. They built up before, and then they stopped, and they built up before. It's the same. This is the same technique that Jim Jones used. Everybody thinks that the day they drank the Kool-Aid is the day they all died. He had them line up and drink the Kool-Aid multiple times. So that on the day when he finally asked, they would be desensitized to the fact that it was actually coming. Russia does this too. When they attacked and took Crimea, they'd gotten close and backed off and gotten close and backed off over the course of months, and then boom, they went in. And that's the concern this time, that's the same tactic all over again. Only this time, Obama's not in charge with Biden telling him, this dude's fucking serious. Biden's in charge.
It's not even getting local play because they're sitting there. Isn't this a capital under siege? It's like Edward R. Murrow, Chuck Todd trying to be Edward R. Murrow on the rooftops of London during the Blitz in 1940, right? To get you all worked up. And they're sitting there going, no, not really. Sorry.
Yeah, but asshole, you're the guy whose job it is on the right wing to to lay fertile ground for Putin. So of course you're going to talk this shit down. You want it to happen. You're friends with Paul fucking Manafort. I mean, for God's sake, the man who arranged for people on the Maidan, on the people who were pushing back against the regime in Ukraine to be killed by putting snipers on the roof and agent provocateurs in the crowd who knew when to leave on radio saying, yeah, throw some shit, start some shit, push some people, start some fights, and then fuck off and we'll open fire. That was Manafort's sale to the regime of Ukraine, and they fucking did it. And this dude and Paul Manafort are like this.
Andrew Mitchell got the big long face. You got the crocodile tears coming out. This is...
And by the way, because he's incapable of human emotion, he thinks any human emotion he sees is fake as well. And of course, who can forget?
Winston Churchill stood on the rooftops in London, very calm, making speeches. Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
This is not even a smart version of Wag the Dog. Now, to top it all off, and I'm going to get to my guests, I got Harnwell in Rome. I got the great Frank Gaffney at the Committee on Present Danger of China. I got John Mills who's done this before, who knows what.
Yeah, all guys who've been involved in other regimes putting down large groups of people and destroying freedom.
Knows how they're rolling. In the middle of this, there are pieces out in the European paper when they're even covering it saying, hey, I think Germany just opted out of NATO. Remember, we're all supposed to worship at the altar of NATO. These are all, I don't think we can put up 2 combat divisions and active combat divisions in NATO. The reason is the 2% they're supposed to pay in GDP, they never come close to touching.
I thought Trump solved all that shit leading up to this very conflict. That's weird. Didn't Trump tell us for years he got everybody to pay? Wasn't that in terms of linear time before this moment? So they've been paying into this since Trump, or was he bullshitting, Joel? Right? No? Oh, by the way, let's see. I want to say, I looked at this early, like, you think we're doing this by ourselves? Yeah, it's just us. It's just us standing up NATO. Given the reality that is Ukraine today, an internationally recognized neutral state within its current borders would be a victory for all. After Crimeans vote on Sunday to secede, before Putin annexes Crimea, and President Obama, Chancellor Merkel, and other European leaders should take a page from the proposed Belgian solution. Right. Is that what he's shooting for?
Why? They don't see Russia as that big a deal, as a big a threat. They don't think they're going to come rolling across the North German plain like we thought after the end of World War II.
Oh, well, then why has Russia put troops in Belarus? Why is that? There you go. Russia troops Belarus. I mean, hey, it's not like Belarus. Let's see. Oh. Russia moves more troops westward amid Ukraine tensions. Russian officials say Moscow is sending an unspecified number of troops from the country far east to Belarus for major joint military drills. That's right. An unspecified number. And by the way, let's see. Let's back up real quick. This is fun. This was kind of cool, although it's Bloomberg. Fuck, I'm gonna end up having to get a subscription to this bullshit, aren't I? God damn it. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Russian tanks in Belarus. Yep. They're moving gear into Belarus. May I? And by the way, this is our fault, just for the record. It's America's fault for existing. Let's just be, obviously, fucking Dorr and Tucker and Secular Talk and all those fuckos. It's all America's fault. We're the ones who forced Russia's hand by not letting them spray poison in the face of opposition and dissidents on the streets of Germany and the parks of London. We keep yelling at them about it, and what do they expect? They're gonna line up troops. America deserves it, right, Hassan? Fucking hell. But let me, let's see, Belarus map. Here we go. Just in case you think, what's the big fucking deal with, here you go. Where's, oh, hey, look at that. There's Russia. There's got to be a better, let's see, a map. There you go. See this generalized area where we're going to widen out. Let's see, Russia, and then, I don't want to buy something, you silly man. Get out of here, man. I'm trying to find a map where here you go. There you go. This is a little better. There you go. So here's Ukraine. There's the map, kids. So Russia's lining up a couple 100,000 troops along this area right here, especially near Kharkiv and these places. with the idea that here, but it's pretty far from Kiev, right? Here, hold on. Let me stretch this out a little bit, see if it'll blow it up any. It's just gonna make it even bigger. Give me this nonsense. There you go. That's a little better. Quit it, you silly advertisement. Beat it. All right, here we go. I don't want to watch all this stuff. All right, anyways. So here you go. Kazakhstan. Wonder why there's trouble there. We talked about that before. So Moscow right here. This little border makes them very nervous. So they've sent some people over here. But you know, Kiev is right here. So that's a long march. That's a big swath of land. Now, if you move troops into Belarus and you park them right the fuck there, You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, and I never feel more mega worldwide than when I'm talking to people from all over the globe in my chat room, which is full of people, and thank you for being here, who like and subscribe and give a thumbs up, and the trolls that wish I didn't exist, but too bad. And yet at the same time, this is the one place they can go where they can have a moment of peace. But see this little thing right here? See that? Here's Belarus. See this little nipple hanging right here on Belarus? Look how close that is to the capital of Ukraine. This is the part that is making everybody extra nervous. And by the way, while this shit happened, we didn't kind of give a fuck for a while. We really didn't. We're like, all right, they might be exercising, they do this, blah, blah, blah. And it was when they moved them into here, people were like, oh, shit. Hey, and look, because Belarus is all in with Russia. And look what's right here. Poland. When's the last time on a world scale some psychotic, egomaniacal leader moved into Poland? Gee, how'd that turn out, right? That's the bit of the concern right here. Sweden, of course, is quite concerned about Russia going into here. There's a big backstory with them. They've been building up because they're very nervous about the Russians trying to own the Baltic Sea and own this little area right here, so because they can get goods to. This is one of the few areas where they can get goods to market on the world stage through water, without having to go through the shittier parts of their own country. So St. Petersburg, big port city. There you go. Go right by this. Now, Latvia and Lithuania are siding, are with the U.S. and with NATO and all these groups, as is Poland. But the issue that they have is this little guy. But hey, you know what? Nobody gives a fuck, right? It's just, who cares, Steve, right? It's just going to kill a bunch of Ukrainians. Just think of the Holodomor. It's like a brand. It's like a neo-Holodomor movement that Trump would be proud of. Oh, that's the end of it. Look at that.